12:30.
I asked Neil to start the recording. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys. Okay. All right. So this meeting is I'd like to call to order the Green Community Group meeting for Tuesday, August 24th. The town of Lunenburg, in response to COVID, has basically allowed us to do Zoom meetings for the open meeting laws. We posted this meeting. This following information is the meeting is being held remote over Zoom. If you want, this meeting will also be on the town's Facebook or public access cable as well, if you wanted to see it at another date. So hopefully everybody who's supposed to be here is here, but I'd like to actually call the meeting to order and kind of give you guys as much time as you can back tonight. And I apologize for not being able to participate in the usual way type of thing. So first, I'd like to look at it is if we have any public comments from the board, from anybody. Nope. Okay.
Nothing for me.
By the way, first of all, I'd like to say to the board, thank you very much for coming down, getting sworn in, and doing all those wonderful things. Thank you again for your service and everything like that. So I'll ask for public comments from the public. Oh, hearing none, let's move on to the next thing. I'm going to jump right into the competitive grant that we have right now and jump in there. So, John Londa, are you on? Yes, I can't see who my participants are.
I don't believe he's on, Dave.
Okay, thank you guys. I appreciate that. So I know John is basically, as far as the schools, he's completed all the tasks. Karen, do you know if he's given all the information in that's necessary for the grant?
Yes, he sent me
all
all the information I need for the school projects to do the report.
Excellent. Okay, excellent. Okay, Rob, I'll now move to the town projects. How are you coming along with that?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is the recommissioning of the public safety building. Kit is trying to lock down prices. He's spoken with them. They know what we need to do. So I'm gonna follow up with him and them tomorrow. And I'll do, if I have to call in a favor to Royal Steam, who we're trying to get to do the work, I'll do that to make sure it gets done. I believe the dishwasher at the senior center was supposed to be delivered yesterday. I'm not sure if it did or didn't. And then the last appliance on there was a range that it's on order at Forest Appliance. So we'll double check on that and make sure it's on its way or where that is. And I believe that's all we had left.
Okay, so Karen, just for you to help, so I'm sorry, Rob, I'm not sure if you've met, but Karen Chapman, who's been helping us immensely with helping us with the grants and the filings and all the wonderful paperwork we have to do. Karen, what would you need from Rob and from the DPW in order to be able to file the report by September 3rd?
So in order to file the report September 3rd, I would need all of the invoices for all of the projects. I would need a ledger that shows that all invoices have been paid. And any anecdotal information that there is about it, if a project went wrong, what went well with it, if there's anything, if we changed projects, if we abandoned any of the projects. Basically, I have to redo the Excel spreadsheet and change any numbers that need to be changed. And, write complete in the column, the status column, if it's complete or abandoned. And then write the report for each project. So basically,
Okay.
It's the invoices, the ledger, and the ledger has to show that all the invoices have been paid. My concern is if work is still going on, that you may not be able to get the invoices in and paid by September 3rd.
Understand, and that's the other concern. So Rob, I guess that's the concern is that the DPW, the Public Works project, might be tough for that September 3rd deadline.
Yeah, I see that. I will do whatever it takes. I'll talk to both our suppliers for the appliances as well as Royal Steam, to see if I can, get it in advance. I'll do whatever it takes.
Okay.
I know it's tight. We'll get done.
Okay, so let's change the discussion a little bit. I'm going to jump around on here and go directly to what the basic thing is, and that is October 8th is our deadline to file for the next grant, if we wanted to file for the October 8th grant. And at this point, we have not finalized with Unitil with the purchase of the streetlights, which is okay because we can show, as long as we show them that there is a letter of intent to purchase and a price that was been given to us, that's okay for the state. But the question I'm going to pose to the committee is regarding, do you feel that we're going to be ready for an October 8th filing of the, to go for the grant? Because we would still need to do an RFP, request quote, and get some ideas of pricing for the conversion of the streetlights. So I'm opening it up to the committee for your input and your opinions on this October 8th date.
Do we know how concrete the budget needs to be for those? If we put out an RFP, can we do more of a budgetary estimate and then follow up with a more formal after the fact for the sake of securing grant funds, or do we need the full detailed proposal?
We're going to need a more detailed estimate. So the problem being is that if we come in with a budgetary, it's okay if we're under, but if we're over, then it's going to have to come out of the town to pay the difference.
Gotcha.
So I get, Karen, if October 8th is not our date, when is the next date?
April.
April. So if you can help us out here, if I don't, when is the actual report? If I'm not trying to kill ourselves and get to this October 8th date, when is the actual date that we would have to complete everything for a report? I think it's later in September, if I understand correctly.
September 3rd.
Yes, but that's if we want to do the October 8th one, right?
Yes,
But if we
It
don't
would
want to
be-
meet the October,
it would be March. Actually,
No, but
February,
I'm
it's the
saying-
end. I guess I'm not understanding what you're asking.
what I'm saying is that in order to closing this grant round, if I ended up having my report in, say, September 19th or I can get maybe petition for an extension, could I, I'm trying to understand if I'm better off petitioning for an extension or asking for an extension to be able to use the grant funds we have and go for that next grant round, or do we really try to work as a group, get an RFP together, send out for quotes, get some pricing and everything like that in the next 30 to 60 days, 30 to 45 days?
I mean, I think the big question is the RFP, and can you turn it around that quick? Because, you have to write it and then you have to have it out for a certain number of weeks. I don't know what Lunenburg's criteria is for how long you keep an RFP out for.
Right.
I don't know that they'll give you an extension to the September 3rd date.
I don't think they would. This is Heather.
Oh,
I
hey,
don't
Heather,
think
how
they
are
would
you?
give an extension. And I would have serious
Okay.
concerns about getting an RFP drafted out and responses due and evaluated before that October date.
Okay. So Heather, I'll ask on that side. How do you feel we need to have this ready for October 8th, or should we be looking towards the April grant round? And maybe have something, because it's sounding like we have a lot of projects still pending. And if
I think we
don't
just have
wanna
that
go-
one. We just have the retro commissioning remaining. I
Right,
think
but
it's-
isn't that to me was a critical one in the fact of, a critical one as far as, for energy savings and helping the town, I thought.
Yes, I'm trying to, Karen, do you have that amount for that project?
It is 4,460.
Okay, so it's not a huge amount, but it is a significant.
And did you do the building operator certification?
Yeah,
Uh,
Kit Walker, my facilities, I think he had the glass class today, so we did
Okay.
do that.
Okay, good.
And John
Okay.
took it as well, I believe.
No, John did not have, I don't think John had anybody that did it, from my
Okay.
understanding. Okay,
Yeah, he had two, we were only able to use the one.
right. So I guess guys, that's my biggest question is, do you feel as a committee that we can get an RFP together, get our bid, get the information together for an October 8th date?
Very doubtful from my mind.
Is
Okay,
the timing better for the execution of the work anyway? I mean, if you're putting something out for October and then you're putting it out for bids to execute the work, then you're dealing with installation in potentially winter weather versus if we're timing it for April, does that not lend itself to better conditions to actually complete the work?
I tend to agree. I mean, however, I think once we get the grant, we do have a period such as this, a period of 6 to 9 months to be able to complete the work. So the work might not have to start till April. It's just a matter of the grant round. And then the other question is when do we feel we would actually own the streetlights at this point? And I guess we can own the streetlights quickly if we decided to just pay the money that pay the ransom that they're asking for them.
Well, once the project wraps though, we have to provide a report out for the grant, right? Similar to these other projects that are concluding. So if we get too tight on the back end of the allotted time frame, we run the, getting all invoices in and paid and all that. We could be putting ourselves up against the deadline too. If we start in October, wait until the spring to actually start the physical work, we could then be, I'm just not sure how that timeline works out if we're pressing up against the deadline to get all the costs in and paid and prepped for the grant report out too. But yeah, it does seem like we're on short time to get everything pulled together for the October date.
Was the question
anybody else?
answered? Sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm in a bad situation. That's why I please feel free. I don't know who's raising hands for anything.
This is Heather.
Okay, sorry, Heather. Yep.
Was the question answered on whether the competitive grant funds would pay for the design?
So that it would actually have to be, the competitive grant funds will pay for the design. However, you would end up doing a competitive grant for the design and then a competitive grant for the installation, but you couldn't do that at the same time.
Okay,
So the thought was to do a design build. So have somebody actually that was to do a assessment, actually writing the contract, RFP. So they would have to do an assessment of what we have, do some suggestions on lighting, and then they would also have the incentive because they would actually be the build company. They would actually be the installers as well.
and we're modeling that after another town who did the same process?
So most of the towns that were under the mass, I forget the name of the mass group, but that did it under the mass group where they did multiple towns, all have done it that way, where they basically had a company come and they would do a assessment of the lights and as well as offer actually do the build too, because obviously the real money is in the installation as opposed to the design. So the
Okay.
Massachusetts as a state has certain lights that they recommend, and so there's not a lot of choices there's not a lot of flexibility in the lights as originally thought.
Again, I would, say I would have a lot of concern about doing it under this tighter time frame, because we would want to advertise for at least 30 days. That's our typical process for an RFP. And you have to build in that time in for where you have to post it. So those publications have to be in usually the week prior to posting. So that's almost an additional week on top of that. So that, as well as how you draft the RFP, is really important, and how everything's defined. I wouldn't want to rush anything and miss something that would harm the town in the long run.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. I don't want it to be a rush. I'd like to be able to make sure we have the time. We even have the time to review and to put everything together. And that's what that's why I'm definitely open for inputs from everybody as to what their thoughts are on this as well.
Another consideration as well as part of the process is I thought we would have been further along with Unitil than we are
Yes.
at this point. There's been a lot of attempt to correspond with their attorney, and it hasn't gone as quickly as expected. So, and I think that timing is going to come into play when the project itself can be constructed. So,
Okay.
giving ourselves a little more time at this point where we are with Unitil is probably a good thing.
Okay.
Would asking the state to intervene in that process help? Because it sounds like Unitil is going to drag their feet right up to the end, and we could be looking at the same problem in April.
I don't think it
I'm
would
sorry,
hurt.
Dave. Could you? Yeah, I'm sorry. Dave, could you repeat a little bit? I lost you there a little bit.
Yeah, the contact that I've given the committee and Heather back a while ago, one of the things he had stated is if we ask for their help, they would try to assist in mitigating the issues that we're trying to mitigate with Unitil, and it puts them on a clock, I believe.
Okay. So that would actually, I guess it goes back to the question is, do we feel like the October 8th date is doable for this grant round?
Definitely not.
Okay, because I don't think we're far enough along on even drafting an RFP, unless we wanted to have several meetings over the next few weeks, next 2 weeks to actually even get a RFP drafted at this point.
But
And
even
it sounds
Dave,
like it. Yeah.
even after it's drafted, there's still not enough time to get it advertised out there, back, accepted, so on and so forth. So, I mean, it's unrealistic. I mean, I'm ready to make a motion that we shoot for it.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Dave. I guess any other well, I'll look at any of the other committee members. Any thoughts on this?
No, I agree. I think we just don't have enough time for the October date.
Dave, I got one
Okay.
more quick question for Karen, just for clarification. The closeout of the present projects, if we're not going after the October date, that gives us some breathing room. We just have to be totally compliant with completion of that sometime before the April filing date.
Yes, I believe the deadline for that will be the end of February.
Okay. So that gives us time to clean up the projects that we haven't finished off now. It gives us time to get the RFQ out and back and analyzed and put in a really well thought out application.
Okay, no, I'm not disagreeing, and that's why I figured it was better to jump to this agenda item versus trying to continue to go the other path. So it's really a matter of, I think the time has gotten away from us, and I'd rather do this the right way than trying to rush it through in any which way.
David,
So-
David, in a future meeting in the near future, I'd like us to put together a calendar that brings us right through to the application date in April, so that we've got benchmarks that we know we need to make and make sure that we accomplish those by those dates.
That would be helpful. And I apologize, guys, because work has gotten away from me, and I am not able to throw as much time into this as I would like, and I'm feeling guilty right now. So I will definitely take whatever help we can get on this thing, and I'd rather do this the right way than things like that. Rob, did you get a chance to talk to your counterpart in AIR at all about the whole process they went through?
I did. I talked to Mark Wetzel. Basically, they went through MAPC and the Green Communities Grant. He said that MAPC did the installation, handled the installation and light bid. And that a company who I also believe did Gardner when we did ours, Tanko Lighting Consultants, they're out of California, but they've done a lot of work in Massachusetts. They handled the construction administration for the town. Mark was going to send me some documents. I know he went on vacation, and I emailed him. I haven't heard back, but he was going to send me some things. So they had, in looking, and actually, if you happen to go to Tanko's website, they have a GIS layer with all the towns they've done. But AIR did 468 streetlights. And their website says that Tanko provided the audit, the design, and then the conversion. It's not what Mark made it sound like, but I don't have any other information than that at the moment. I was waiting for him to send some stuff over.
Cool. Okay. So it's kind of ironic because Tanko is a company that actually gave us a quote several years ago. You know, when prices of LEDs were much higher and things of that sort. So that is actually a number that we had from the Tanko guys. But that's fine. I would think it would be different now.
Yeah, and just to give you an idea, I do have pricing that when Gardner did it. So their bid price for labor was $43 a fixture. Their lights, which their 19-watt fixtures, were $104.60. And on top of that, the photo cells were $12.45. So all in, they were around $160 per light.
Okay. All right. So even if we looked and we put a larger number of $200 per light, we're looking at like for us, like a $66,000, a $70,000 bill for this thing. Okay. All right. Okay, guys, I'd like to do that. I'd like to entertain a motion regarding whether or not we would like to go for the October 8th grant.
Yeah, Dave, I move that we pass over the October 8th grant and concentrate on going for April.
Okay. Do I have a second at all?
I second that.
Okay, excellent. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Dave?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Liz, are you on?
She's not.
That was-
Okay, well, I'm an I too, so that, actually, we have a quorum, so I didn't even check to know of a quorum. I should have done that earlier, but we have a quorum, so I guess we'll look to shoot for the April date and, get our act together. Dave, I will definitely look for any help you want to give as far as setting deadlines, timelines, or anything like that, as far as getting everything, for what we need to do to get this, to meet the next deadline on this thing.
Karen, could you send me the dates that you're aware of and we've talked about over the last few minutes to my email account at Bloomberg Online?
Yes,
And
Okay.
Heather, you and I will talk at some point. I'll try to get some dates that are important to the town side.
Okay, thank you. So I'll move to the next topic that I want to talk about, and that's the fact that John Londa is retiring as of October. And so there's two things that need to happen. One of them is John has been the one that has been able to access the online data and produce some of the graphs that are necessary for the final report and the information for the final report. We need to think about how we want to address that moving forward. Rob, what he's done most of the time is he's gone to the folks at the DPW to enter into the information about the fuel, like the gas consumption, things of that sort, but been able to enter it into the system. So it's something we need to think about how we want to do it. Karen, are you familiar with if we can have more than one person on the account, or
Yes,
does
you
it just
can.
need to be one person? Okay, so we can have multiple persons on the account, so that's a benefit. So I'll Rob, you and I can talk about that, and we can figure out how we want to do this as far
Okay.
as the schools, the town, and things of that sort on the account.
and you mean the
And I'm
annual
not-
report, not the final report?
That's correct. The annual report, yes. Yes. So the final report is for the grant. The annual report is for something we have to do just as a report each year, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we'll get that addressed and we'll work together on that. Karen, I'd like to give you a little time to talk about, a little bit more about, what you, because I have several new committee members and several new people, but talk to them a little bit more about the resources that you can provide and that you are providing, and then what we can do to, on both sides to help each other, if we could.
Okay. So right now, under the assistance contract I have with you is under your current competitive grant administrative costs. And so I assist you with quarterly reporting in this final report and stuff like that. That will end when this grant ends. Once I do the final report, that'll be done. In the past, I've had, so MRPC gets a grant from DOER to help our communities with annual reporting and competitive grant applications. The most recent one that we had ended this past May, and we applied for a new one in May. And no, I think it was July. I'm sorry. And I sent out an email to all the towns, and unfortunately Lunenburg didn't respond, so I didn't get Lunenburg in for assistance for annual reporting or competitive grant applications. So our grant is supposed to be awarded in September. It'll run for 2 years. Halfway through those 2 years, they'll ask us if we want to add any communities in. At that point, I could add you in to assist you in the future with annual reporting and competitive grant applications, but that's totally up to you. I'd be willing to help anybody that needs any assistance on how to use the MEI. They do have, MEI is the Mass Energy Insight program that the state manages, where all the energy usage data goes in. And gas and electric are automatically uploaded, so we don't have to worry about that. But you do have to put in propane, gasoline, diesel, heating oil. Those things have to be entered by the town. So it's nice to keep up with that data. So if someone in the town can do that, that's great. I I do it for some of our other communities when I do their annual reports. You know, if they don't have the data in there and they send me the data, I can do it. So that's sort of so I can be assistance under our REPA grant or your competitive grant under the administrative costs. So that's my story.
Okay, so Karen, if I understand correctly, then we are, unfortunately for us, it wouldn't be till midway through 2022 that we would be able to possibly get assistance moving forward.
Correct, unless you paid me directly, which we
Okay.
can also do.
Okay, all right, however, I mean, I guess we could do that through a competitive grant, right?
Right. When you put in for I don't know what help I can be if you're putting in a competitive grant for just, to change the lighting or to do the design. I mean, I don't feel like it would be much help. It would be silly for me to help you with that because that's just a small one project grant.
Okay, it would be more, I was thinking more in the final reports and,
Right.
I'm sorry, the annual reports and things of that sort.
Right. Yeah, because John
Okay.
always did the annual reports.
Yes, I know, and that's the whole thing. So since I'm going to lose it, either we'd have to have the annual report done by the middle of October, or
Well, and you can
what-
do that because the template for the annual report has already come out. If you ask John nicely, I bet he would do it for you before he leaves.
yes. Okay. All right. So we will work towards that. That's for sure. But the main thing for us now is just going to be more of closing out and assistance with the final report for the grant.
Right.
Okay. Okay. And is there a template for well, you've explained a bit of it, and you sent me the information. I'll send it when I get a chance, I'll send it to the rest of the group, but there is a template for the final report as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But
All right.
I can still do the final report for you.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Okay. Cool. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay.
Yes, I'm still
so we
under
just-
that competitive grant.
Okay. So at this point, we need to get you the information, the invoices, the little anecdotal reports and things of that sort.
Yes.
For that.
Yes.
Does it have to have anything regarding the energy savings were outlined in the Excel spreadsheet? So it's just more of just the actual final cost of whatever we did, and then
Right.
a little bit of of what was accomplished.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Karen, quick
Excellent. So
question. If we don't close out the existing projects until February, you're on board till February?
I'm on board until this grant is done.
Okay, so there's another side of this whole thing, is that we're not closing out on October 3rd. So Karen's assistance carries until we close out the project.
Right.
Right. So it's actually September 3rd. So Dave, we'd have to close out by
Sorry,
September 3rd.
wrong.
No, that's okay. It's just, as I said, since months are getting by us, I figured I'd just point out. So we'd have to close out by September 3rd, which is going to be very difficult at this point, I think, for
Right,
everybody.
we've already decided we're not closing out by September 3rd, and the next hoop that we need to jump through, closing those out to make sure we're ready for April, was Karen stated February. So if we don't rush to close out the existing projects, then Karen is still working on this grant until then.
Right.
Yes.
Saying
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. So Heather, is there a large impact to you on whether or not we're doing, and I should have asked this earlier, but on whether or not we're doing the October 8th versus an April timeframe for the grant and the conversion?
As far as getting in all the invoices and reporting on those projects?
Well, as far as your budget items and the financial side of things, since it doesn't sound like we'll have we won't have the street lights closed out just yet. And I know you have a budget items slated for the street lights as well, for the purchase of the street lights as well.
That's an article that carries over until that's,
Until
the
it's done.
project is finished. So it doesn't
Okay.
end with the fiscal year.
Okay, excellent. Okay, all right. So it's sounding as a group that the thought is to slow down a little bit, take our time, complete as many of the complete all the projects, so as many as we can. I think this would give a chance, if we're using the February date, it gives a chance for a new facilities director for the schools to come on board and actually get somebody to come in and do elect somebody to do the class, so we don't give up that spot as well. And I think in the end, I think in the long run, it's going to benefit the town a lot more. If I'm open to thoughts from the rest of the, definitely want to hear thoughts from the rest of the committee on that.
Yeah, Dave, what you just said makes total sense. The other thing is that I'm glad we're going to have more time to talk about and figure out exactly what we're going to want when we go after the funding for the streetlights or the conversion appliances and stuff, because as you know, there's been some discussion about some add-ons that would be funded from a different source, but would be side by side during the installation. So we need to see how that interplays with what we go after versus what is funded from another source.
Okay, excellent. Okay. All right, guys. So, all right. So, it looks like that we, as a group, where the thought is to continue to strive and to continue to close the projects as quickly as we can. However, that the idea would be is not to kill ourselves for a September 3rd closing for the competitive grant. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
And I
Yep.
think, Dave, we should
Okay.
put the word out if there's some small projects that we can also add in April instead of going for just the street lights. If there's a few
Yeah.
other small ones that are, like no-brainers, we want to get them in there.
Yes. Okay. So Rob, that actually would, if you wanted, that would give time on your side as well. If there was other projects that you felt were worthwhile for the town and the DPW, the town to do, we'd more than happy to entertain those projects. We've done a lot of projects for the school, and this will give a chance. If you want, we could send you the information about what projects are viable for the competitive grant, and let you guys figure. It's like certain things like even weatherization, other things like that are open for competitive grant funds.
Yeah, that certainly, that cushion of time will certainly help with that. I know Kit runs around like a crazy man. He doesn't have time to always sit down and look at these things. I'm hoping to have his helper on fairly soon. We have a candidate who we're looking to hire. So that's going to it's going to give Kit more time for things like this, and for he and I to kind of, if we know the types of grants that are out there, we'll certainly have more time to think about them and how to apply for them and where to apply for them. So no, I think it's great. As far as the closing out the projects, I don't want to drag my feet on that. So I want to get that done. Regardless of the September 3rd, obviously probably not going to happen for September 3rd now, but want to get that done anyway.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. All right. Super. All right.
Dave, quick question for you. Do you know if John Wanda's leaving town?
Yes, they're moving to Orleans.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all I need.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that wasn't information I was supposed to give out, but oh well, tough luck. No, he's actually, so technically he's actually already moved to Orleans. And he has like an apartment. He just comes up here for the week, during the week.
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
And I know that they're, I think they're already starting to set up for interviews for his replacement, because, his goal is to have his replacement on so that he can be with them for several weeks to help train them, get them up to speed before he officially retires.
Okay. I was just hoping he would stand around because we do have a seat open and 2 associate member seats.
Yes, yes. So he's already told me he's looking forward to joining the Green Group down in Orleans. where
Our
we
watch
can
is
finally,
in vain.
right, where we can finally be a member. You know. So no, I'm only kidding, you guys. All right, excellent.
So Dave,
Yes,
it's
Which Dave?
Karen.
Yes.
Sorry, Dave Blatt.
Yep.
yes.
And I guess Heather, I need to, so my current contract ends September 30th, so I'll have to send you an extension to, probably March
Okay,
31st.
Okay, thank you. That would be fantastic, and more than happy to take care of that. And so, yeah, that'd be fantastic. We can definitely take care of that. And I think I'm excited, guys. This is, especially since Matt, new member. It gives also a time because we have to look for, if anybody knows, we're looking for additional members. So it might give us time to get some new members on board and make sure they have a chance to participate in this whole process with us. Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay, guys. Once again, I apologize. I had a business thing come up, and I'm not in the greatest spot for having this conversation, but I did not want to cancel the meeting tonight. But are there any other topics that anybody would like to discuss from the committee or at this point?
Dave, when we have a full committee on a future meeting, we need to, as a committee, formally form our chair, vice chair, et cetera, because we are now a formal committee.
Yes. So I would look, and it's a little tough since Liz is not here. I'll send out an email, and we'll look for a date in early September after Labor Day for us to get together as a committee at that point, so we can formalize the committee and work on a long-term deadline, long-term commitments as to get this done for the next date, to get this RFP in and to get everything done for the next date.
Sounds good.
Okay, excellent. All right. So I'm going to move on to if there's any comments from the public that I missed out on, and any comments for the committee that we might have not addressed.
Yeah, Dave, I'd just like to bring up, you're aware of it, but there has been at least one member of the public who has suggested that there might be an opportunity to partner some funding from the COVID relief or COVID recovery funding. And this is just a suggestion from them for enhancing and installing 5G along with the streetlights. And that's why I brought it up earlier. It could possibly give us the capability of the streetlights actually reporting their actual usage instead of calculated usage, but also enhance Wi-Fi access all over.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you, Dave. Yes. So that, I think personally, I think that's a fantastic suggestion of that's something that would benefit all people in town, because I don't know how the rest of you are, but I'm definitely one of those that, depending on where I am in the house, depends on whether I get cell coverage or not. So I'd be more than happy, open to that as a guy that lives in the valley, to anything we can do to enhance cell and actually give Xfinity or Comcast a little competition here in town. So, Dave, are you having a chance to? Would you keep us abreast of that as we move as it moves forward, and anything that we need to do as a committee to get involved with that?
Yeah, I think that party and Heather are having conversations. I don't know where it stands at this point. I heard about it a couple of weeks ago, and I know Heather is aware of the conversation. And
yes, we still haven't gotten a response from Verizon.
Okay, excellent. So we'll look forward to hearing more about that. Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay, super. So, as I mentioned, I'll send out an email and we'll work on a date for early September that doesn't conflict with everybody else's committees and other meetings at that time. I'd look to have it as a in-person meeting because I think we really need to spend some time as a group together and start hashing things out and start moving what we can do forward on this. So let me table the idea of next date to just saying it'll be early September. And at this point, if there's no other topics for everybody, I'd like to give you some time back, and I'll accept the motion to adjourn if you want.
Don't move.
Any
Second.
seconds? Excellent. All those in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
All right, I give an aye too. All right, guys. Once again, apologize for not being able to be on the computer. Apologize for work taking precedence over personal or town stuff. And I appreciate the time. I appreciate everything the time you guys have given and your inputs. And we look forward to a successful meeting and a successful start of the projects in September. So
Great.
at this
Thanks,
point,
Ed.
we'll adjourn and I'll give you some time back before your next meeting. How's that?
That's great.
Couple minutes.
How's that?
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
All right.
Have a
All
good
right.
night.
Thanks, guys.
Right.
Thanks again.
Good night.
We'll talk to you. Take care. Thanks. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.